Some people say a man is made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood and skin and bones. A mind that's weak and a back that's strong.
Frankenstein here, continuing my series about interrogation. This time around I'm going to talk to you about intelligence interrogation and the tactics used by intelligence officers during interrogations. Remember that an intelligence interrogation is motivated by the desire to gather information. It's kind of open-ended. Okay, one source of information about an interrogation that is rather popular in conspiracy theorist circles is the so-called Cobra Counterintelligence Interrogation Manual published by the CIA in 1963. That's worth taking a look at, but if you do, please keep in mind that it's a manual from 1963, so what I'm saying is that it's kind of outdated and a little bit over the top in some cases. Sometimes you'll probably find it described as a torture manual. I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but it's really not a manual on torture. There are no chapters with titles like thumb screws or use of red-hot pokers or anything like that. So if you have any lingering ambiguity about what constitutes torture, please watch my previous video about interrogation, and then if you still can't figure it out, send me a video response with your specific areas of concern or shoot me a message. Alrighty then, intelligence interrogation. Reliable sources of information about current theories on interrogation include a New Yorker article called The Dark Art of Interrogation, which was actually optioned for movie rights in Hollywood, a book called The Interrogators by Chris Mackey, which is a pseudonym, and U.S. Army Field Manual 34-52, Intelligence Interrogation. The 1987 edition of that manual is available on the website globalsecurity.org. Wikipedia's entry on interrogation is also worth reading and will point you towards some other resources. Intelligence interrogation can be defined as the systematic questioning under hostile but controlled circumstances of a person who has information of operational or intelligence interest. The use of the term hostile shouldn't be misunderstood. It indicates that the interrogator and the subject have opposite intentions in mind or cross purposes. It doesn't mean necessarily they're fighting physically. What the interrogator wants is for the subject to reveal information, and what the subject wants is to avoid revealing the information. If the subject willingly reveals information, then the situation quickly becomes an interview. And like I said before, that's not an interrogation. There's no need for tricks or anything. It's simple journalism. If you were going to break into a house, one of the first things you might do is reach out and see if the doorknob will open, if the house was left unlocked. Similarly, interrogators begin with something called the direct approach, which consists of simply asking a subject direct questions. If the subject answers those questions, then there's no need for an interrogation, and it's a very easy matter to proceed.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
What is your name?
Cobra Commander.
Are you the head of Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world?
Why, yes.
What is your terrorist organization's evil plan?
We're going to use a laser to carve my face onto the surface of the moon, and there's no way you can stop us. Ha 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 ha.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
What is your name?
Cobra Commander.
Are you the head of Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world?
No.
Then why do they call you Cobra Commander?
My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Commander, they like snakes. It's a mere coincidence.
When the direct approach is unsuccessful, interrogators switch to employing other approaches, all of which are basically psychological strategies designed to trick subjects into revealing information. One of the most common is the incentive approach, which takes advantage of a perceived need on the part of the subject, basically paying or otherwise rewarding them for providing information.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
What is your terrorist organization's evil plan?
I'll take that secret to the grave with me, you fool.
Will you tell me your evil plan for a Scooby sack?
Okay.
Emotional approaches attempt to manipulate a subject's perceived love or hate.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
Now that you're a prisoner, it seems likely that Destro, your second in command, will lead Cobra now.
That fool could never lead Cobra.
In fact, he'll probably carve his own face onto the moon.
What? He's supposed to carve my face onto the moon. That impudent and impertinent fool.
We can't stop. All you have to do is tell us the location of your secret base, and we'll make sure Destro never gets the chance to defy you.
Do you promise?
Oh yes, of course.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
Mr. Commander, if you tell us the evil plan, we'll be able to stop it with a few simple arrests. But if you don't tell us, things may escalate into a military conflict and an eventual bloodbath. You like the Baroness, don't you?
Yes, she's quite a woman. But what does that have to do with anything?
If it turns into a fight, there's no way we could guarantee her safety. She could get hit with one of those lasers that comes out of G.I. Joe's M16s. You better cooperate with us, for her sake.
Pride and ego approaches, or PNE approaches, attempt to manipulate a subject's self-esteem, either to bring it up or bring it down.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
I'm a failure. I was determined to rule the world, but now I'm nothing more than a prisoner.
It's just bad luck, Mr. Commander. I'm sure your plan was quite brilliant.
Oh yes, it was.
That's because you're a smart guy. There was all sorts of advanced science involved in your plan.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it involved a laser carving my face onto the moon.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
My plan was so brilliant, you'll never figure it out.
That's hard to believe. I bet your plan sucked because you're an idiot.
What? You fool! My plan was very smart. It involved all sorts of advanced science.
That's ridiculous. You don't know anything about science.
Not true. I know all about lasers and how to use them to carve my face onto the moon.
The we-know-all approach attempts to convince a subject that everything of possible interest is already known, so it can't hurt him to engage in conversation with the interrogator.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
You are Cobra Commander, the leader of the ruthless terrorist organization Cobra, which is determined to rule the world. Your evil plan was to carve your ugly mug onto the moon using a laser. Or rather, your ugly helmet. You help your landlady carry out her garbage.
How do you know all that?
Our dossier on you is pretty extensive. We know everything. You masturbate using your left hand.
Curses! You really do know everything. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to talk with you then, since you already know everything.
Precisely.
The establish your identity approach consists of confronting a subject with outrageous accusations about having identified him as a known terrorist or whatever. It's kind of similar to the Reed technique in that respect. The objective is to get the subject to provide information in the course of trying to convince the interrogator of his actual identity.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe is there.
You're in a lot of trouble, Adolf.
Wait, what? Why did you just call me Adolf?
Because you're Adolf Hitler, the notorious ruler of Nazi Germany, and the man responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews.
That's ridiculous. Hitler's dead.
Exactly what you wanted the world to think. But we're on to your little game. You're going down, Hitler. We don't take genocide lightly, you know.
But I'm not Hitler. I'm Cobra Commander. Our next plan was to carve my face under the moon with a laser. Would Hitler know that?
I think you have a basic idea of how approaches work. So that's it for this particular video about interrogation. And next time around, I'll be discussing anything I missed in these first 2 installments. Respond to viewer feedback and say whatever else seems relevant to the topic. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
If you see me coming, better step aside. A lot of men didn't, a lot of men died. One fist of iron, the other of steel. If the right one don't get you, then the left one will.